so long is like alchemy.
Game 3, Friday evening in New Orleans. Let's give New Orleans crowd a bit of credit here. It was very lively, much more lively than let's say, a Rockets crowd in the NO. And JaVale McGee getting the start, kind of controversial, right? If you remember my preview video, I kind of said JaVale's not really going to play in this series, or at least I felt he shouldn't because of the way New Orleans played. And he wasn't disastrous, but it wasn't good. Right away, you expected New Orleans to be the hungrier team, and they were. And Steph Curry got picked on bad, y'all. Gentry knows Steph's deficiencies as well as anybody in the league, and they attacked him, whether it was Etuan Moore, Drew Holiday. That was the game plan, and they executed it well. Now here, this isn't a hard foul, but this is a predetermined foul. They spoke about this before the game in the locker room, like let's hard foul Steph and just make a statement and try to, you know, just get him off of his rhythm. And they didn't need to do that. He was out of rhythm either way, but they scouted out the vertical spacing from JaVale. I don't know how soon they knew JaVale was starting, but they were well prepared for it. And Klay started off cold. So to his credit, because it was like, uh-oh, he's going to have to still find his stroke, and he would. Now, New Orleans, I thought, was a little bit sloppy and sped up to start the game. I thought there was a bit of over-trying from their side, maybe a little bit of desperation, knowing you can't go down 3-0 to the champs. Draymond, AD, isolation. Now, they still didn't get a whole lot of foul calls. I know AD's complaining there, but you see he doesn't go into the body. He's not forcing the contact. He fades, and so he doesn't get the call. And then this lets you know everything you need to know about Steph Curry in this game. You saw that celebration there? That is a clown-ass celebration. That is not the way you celebrate when you're taking an opponent seriously, and they paid the cost for it. Once again, jumping the passing lanes out in transition, and he throws it up for the lob here. But that celebration, there was just a level of silliness to it that just lets you know that they don't really respect New Orleans. And then watch how quickly Draymond's young guy, Jordan Bell, comes out here for the smoke. Now, Mark Jackson had mentioned, like, he needs to be careful. You can't come running off the benches. There can be consequences for that. But I love big picture that Bell is out there and he's like his rider for it. But Rondo, it's really some kid shit. And here's JaVale just in space, and it's just problematic. Styles make fights. This is not the style for JaVale. I've said it before. And the thing with Steph really struggling, Klay kind of got back to his role that we saw in the first round, where he was creating and the offense was kind of being generated through Klay, and he did well with that. You see the turnover here where that's on Steph. That's not Draymond. A lot of the turnovers weren't really on Draymond. Steph half-stepped. He was tugged, and he didn't commit to the route. I thought this was an ironic foul call because it was probably the one they shouldn't have got is the one they got. They still only shot 12 free throws, so I think that is – you got to think that they're going to shoot more and more as the series goes on. And then the kick out, and then this is where we're helping off Solomon Hill. That's the game plan. And this was just an unaccounted for 9 points in this first quarter with Solomon Hill. That's who you help off the trailer 3. And the problem was in transition, they weren't communicating with Rondo well. You had too many guys watching Rondo with the ball in transition, allowing for guys to get to their shots. Draymond catches the ball low, dips the hips. That's the key. Now here he is again, and I'm not saying you abandon the game plan right away, right? You got to kind of dare him to make a couple, but once he's hit 2 in a row, you have to be dynamic enough to adjust to that. And I thought on this third one here, like, you may want to not have come off that far, right? He's just hit 2 in a row, so I thought that was just kind of a brain fart from the Warriors defense, like, yo, clearly he's hot. I know he shoots 33%, then that's just a pathetic effort from Steph. And like I said, he was the gaping hole in the ship during this game defensively. KD ISO'd in the corner. That's just a tough shot. But KD wasn't innocent in all this. He had a very lackadaisical effort really on both ends of the court. Here's the pick and roll. Iguodala, attack. And there's Steph again. I know this is going to be a pick on Steph thing, but in the wrong spot at the wrong time right there, right? Now here's the play where KD barks at Steph. Now KD, he's following the game plan. They're supposed to be switching that. Now, could he be fought over that screen? Absolutely. But Steph not following the game plan, it was just a lack of communication and really just a poor effort from both of them. As I watched this game this morning, y'all, this was a half-ass effort all the way around with the exception really of Draymond and Klay. I think ultimately the switching problems with Steph is he doesn't want to switch on a primary scorer, which, you know, shit, I don't blame him the way he defends them. And then this is where I was like, oh, he doesn't look too good, right? He just didn't have enough burst in his legs. And I know I'm killing him. I'm just being honest with what happened. We all know why he didn't look good, right? It's understandable, but the fact is it happened. Then Ian Clark comes in and splashes in his OG's face for the 3. Meanwhile, Nick Young twisting his curls on the bench. You remember Ian and David West had quite the connection last season. And then I don't know why we allowed this, but we allowed Mirotic to post up Klay and Sean, and they kept getting that switch. And I mentioned in my first take video, I thought that really hurt us as well. We're going to have to make an adjustment. He's too big. I know he's not a post player, but at 7 foot to ask Sean to do that. And this was what I liked about Klay, because he missed his first few shots. You see him go in there and force the issue and get an easy one at the rim. And then here's some familiarity. Ian knows Sean's spot. Look at him not let him get to it. That's a little further out than Sean wants to shoot that. So Ian Clark very familiar with this Warriors roster, as he should be. Kick out Draymond is going to hit another 3 here. And I didn't really have a problem with Dre's game. And I thought he really tried to will us and force the issue, and that's what caused a lot of those turnovers. Here's Iguodala out in transition. He took like 4 shots in 27 minutes. It's just unacceptable for a guy of his stature on this team, and especially with Steph trying to find his way. Now, this was the key for Klay. He gets rolled up on here from Moore, clearly under his feet when he comes down, but the 3 free throws got him going. Now watch Jrue Holiday. Right when they switch, he pulls the trigger, right? Our switching wasn't crisp because we're worried about AD, and he timed a lot of his shots right on the switch perfectly. Now, Klay, after the 3 free throws, you know he'd been struggling from the field. What do you know? He splashes down the 3. Now here he is causing gravity. They jump to him. Draymond makes the extra pass, and Looney finishes. And I don't know if Looney had too much gumbo pregame or what, but he seemed slow as well throughout this thing. The transition, all eyes on Rondo. Look, there's too many guys paying attention to Rondo. What about the guy that's actually going to shoot the basket? And they weren't prepared for this matchup. Watch Looney get caught watching here. They don't know if they want to help or not, if Sean can guard him or not. And the slight hesitation allowed for New Orleans to attack the glass and hit cutters. Now watch Steph's effort off the screen. That's just unacceptable, man. I just don't understand how you can be such a great basketball player and not fight over screens better than that. So now Draymond's got to help all the way. They double the wrong guy. Anthony Davis playing in space, gets the and one and the roll. Again, all generated through Steph Curry's terrible defense. I'm just keeping it a buck, y'all. Here he is pulling up for 3. A lot of the times he can negate that defensive effort when he's hot from the offensive side of the court, but that just wasn't the case. Watch him here being cute with it. Shoot the floater, Steph. And again, it's just going to take him some time to get back into this. We know why this is happening, but it happened, and it was the main reason why we didn't stay into this game. There's the double, and Rondo, instead of running to the far corner, stayed right in front of the rim. That's a nice adjustment from Gentry to keep Rondo aggressive offensively. KD, what are you doing? That's the only thing Mirotic does. KD stands flat-footed and doesn't even put an arm up. And when I saw that, it was like, okay, these guys don't really want this. Klay continues to grow in transition with his aggression. He was the best Warrior easily. 20 points. Did he have all 20 in the second? I know he had 20 in the half. It seemed like most of them came in the second quarter. Watch Steph again here, ISO'd, and they're going to get to the line, right? And so I think we know he can play better defense. He's a little rusty at game speed, but it wasn't just rust, it was effort as well. Klay, another one. So Klay has damn near 20 points in the quarter. Here we go with time winding down, right? Let's get Klay the heat check. No, Steph jacks one up. So it was an overall, you know, I know you guys, not a lot of you probably even want to watch this video or relive this game, but I'm here to tell you, man, that this was nowhere near a team effort by any means. So I guess that's better. I think it was Aaron that posted, right, that said, you know, it's an effort loss is better than one where we tried, and you're absolutely right, Klay. And when he hit this to start the third quarter, I was like, uh-oh, are we going to get one of those Klay games where he just drops 60? AD, again, JaVale letting him be in space. Back to my preview video, you cannot give AD space, and that's what JaVale was doing to try to make up for the lack of quickness of guarding him. And then Rondo, he's going to get one a game, picks his pocket, one of those turnovers over the top. And so, you know, revisiting the JaVale start, you might have thought that he wouldn't have started the third. Again, Anthony Davis in space. Why Draymond's so effective is he's always into his chest. That's what Davis doesn't like. And there's a forced turnover. And this is where Draymond, a lot of those were just like trying to force the issue. Drew, trailer 3, and they're all over the glass. And then the confidence, it's a snowball effect. Now Rondo's feeling good. He had a couple layups. He hits the jumper, and Kerr needs the timeout here with 8:37 in the third as New Orleans really blew this thing open. And I just want to say, you know, I'm hating on Steph in this, or I'm going hard on him. We would never sniff a championship without this dude, Draymond Green. I know I pick on him at times too, but he tries to will us so much. There's the lob to Looney, and when we were really down and out, he seemed to be like the only guy that was like battling and still thinking we could win. I don't know what happened there. You explain that to me. Did Klay think Draymond was going to pick him up? All right, and here's where I knew the game was over, and this is my last play on picking on Steph, I believe. Look at this effort across the court. Like, it's just, I'm going to show it again because I just want you to see how poor of an effort this is. This is a fucking joke, Steph. And I love you. But watch this, guys and ladies. Look at this. Look at that fake. And then look at him put his arms up like 10 feet away from Ian as he nets it in the corner. Just pathetic, as pathetic an effort as you could get from a two-time MVP. And then you see Clay, he's getting pushed way out. And I think he kind of maybe, I don't know if he wore down or what, but Clay, that's an example right there of cut back door. So they stopped working hard to get better shots. And then you see Iguodala, he gets cracked here and he's hurting. And, you know, I know Ig's a little dramatic, but this is where I thought, like, okay, Kerr, call the timeout. Call the timeout and regroup here. It's not quite, it's an 18-point lead, right? Can we finish, have a nice little run here to finish? And he just lets them die out here. He just lets them, lets the blowout expand. Ian Clark again in the corner. And so that's where the game was over, right? Kerr conceded very early. Gentry's like, I'm about 15 minutes away from some backwoods, baby. I had to get him. Why is his eyes so bloodshot, though? He looks like the fucking candy man. Look at Kerr. If you read his body language, he sat there with his legs crossed the entire second half. And just look at the Warriors. Do they seem concerned about this? Hopefully, this was enough to get their attention and dial in to playing some championship basketball, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in particular. Now, the question is, Kerr, are you going to change some of these rotations? David West? Are we going to see Jordan Bell? This series is not for JaVale. I've said it 5 times. And I just know it as a fact. I'm telling you right now. So I expect a rotation change, but most importantly, I expect an effort change Sunday. As Steph doesn't usually have back-to-back bad games. I don't care how much basketball he's played in the last 2 months. Now, you could argue they haven't played a meaningful game since game 1 of the playoffs, right? Because it was kind of established very quickly like San Antonio can't hang. So history shows they respond in losses and when the game means something, because we cannot allow this series to go 2-2. I'm out, y'all.